Hey, it's Adrian, and if you're looking for a portable gaming monitor like I've hooked up to my PS5, you're going to want to check out this GTMedia Game Mate 173 gaming monitor. So this has a 2.5K resolution with up to 165 Hz. There's HDR support. You can connect it to consoles like I have here, to your laptop, to your phone, and it's all housed in this 17.3-inch IPS screen and body. My experience so far has been fantastic using this with my console, laptop, and phone. However, there's a couple of things that may or may not be deal breakers for you. So let's take a closer look at how well it performs, and a big thanks to GTMedia for sending this out for review. In the box, we have the GTMedia Game Mate 173 manual, USB Type-A to Type-C cable, Type-C to Type-C cable, power brick, and mini HDMI to HDMI cable. Just a heads up that while I have this European plug, when you order it, you will get the North American plug. So the Game Mate 173 feels really good in the hand. It comes in around 1.4 kilograms or around 3 pounds. We have the GTMedia logo here, an LED light strip, and then we have two screws that secure this kind of case or sleeve. Here's a side profile, so it looks pretty clean folded up. So it's about 1/4 inch at the narrowest and about 5/8 of an inch at the widest section. The bezel size is not too big, not too small, and then the bottom chin is a little bit larger. If I completely unfurl this rear cover, I can see the two speaker grills, and these get fairly loud. I'll demo them later. And we also have two threaded mounts here. Maybe this could be wall mounted, but there was no screw hardware. And if we take a closer look at the sticker here, it does mention via USB Type-C you can get up to 165 Hz, and by HDMI up to 144 Hz. The right side of the monitor has two full function USB Type-C ports, and we have a mini HDMI port. The other side of the monitor has a 3.5mm headphone jack. We also have a menu rocker, so you can actually slide this up, down, or you could push it in to confirm selections. And we also have a power or back button, and you can also use these to quickly change the input or to adjust the brightness or volume without actually going into the menu. The monitor is about 15.7 inches wide, 9.8 inches high, and about 5/8 inches at the thickest area. Specs include up to 165 Hz via USB Type-C display or 144 Hz via HDMI display. There's 300 nits, a 2.5K resolution, all housed in a 17.3-inch IPS screen. 1000:1 contrast ratio, 178 degrees viewing angle. We have HDR 100% sRGB coverage. There's 3 levels of angulation, so I have it on the first angulation track. Here's what the second one looks like, and then the third and most extreme. And you can see it stays pretty stable. Even if I kind of hit it, nudge it, it stays pretty much in place. Let's go back to the first track. And even if I was to rock it, you can see because it's attached at the back here, it's not really going anywhere. So yeah, really good. To connect your laptop or desktop to the portable monitor, we have two options. So one is by USB-C and one is by mini HDMI. So I have an HDMI cable going into my laptop. I'm going to plug in the mini HDMI here. And you're going to notice that nothing is happening, and that's because the HDMI is not supplying power. So anytime you use this setup, we will have to plug in a USB Type-C cable going from the power brick that was supplied into the monitor. So you're going to have to run two cables if you want to use HDMI, and you're going to be limited to 144 Hz. So there we go. The monitor display is now duplicated exactly what's on my laptop. Now if I go into my laptop's display settings and I put it at the native resolution, so I'm not using the 2.5K, but if I go to 3200 by 200, which is the native resolution on this laptop, and I keep the changes, you can see that on the monitor we have vertical bars on the right and left side. It doesn't fill out the entire screen, and there's no menu settings in here to kind of force it to stretch, and you wouldn't really want it to because the aspect ratio would be completely off. So for best results, go ahead and match the 2.5K display on here to your laptop display. Here's what it looks like with my laptop display set to 1920 by 1080 or full HD, and this is what it looks like on the monitor. So yeah, if you don't have a 2.5K display on your monitor, you can use lower resolutions. It's not going to be a problem. And of course, if I don't want my display duplicated, I can just go ahead and set it to extend these displays. And then I could just put something that I want over here. So for example, I can just pull up this browser tab from my laptop, do my work on the laptop while I'm watching YouTube on the side. If you plan on using the portable monitor as an extended display, you could leave your laptop on its native high resolution and the portable monitor will default to its highest native resolution. I'm now going to connect my laptop to the monitor using the supplied USB-C cable. So it's going USB-C to USB-C from my laptop to the monitor. And this is a much better option. You can see it's both going to power the monitor and give us display over USB-C. Much better option if your laptop supports display over USB-C. I'm now going to connect my S24 Ultra to the monitor so that I could use Samsung DeX. So I've already plugged in a USB Type-C cable to supply power. I'm just going to plug in the other supplied USB-C cable to USB-C. So it's going from my phone to the portable monitor. And you can see it's going to simultaneously charge my phone and launch Samsung DeX. There we go. And from here I could just open it up and then just use the interface on here. So for example, I could just go and open up Google here, and it's really easy to use. I have both my S24 Ultra and the laptop connected to the portable monitor. So right now it's showing what's on the phone, but what I could do is tap on the back button or power button here, go down to HDMI, and press in, and then just wait for it to switch the input to my laptop display. So switching inputs on the fly is really easy. Here's the portable monitor next to my laptop display, and I'm just going to cycle through the color temperatures. Right now it's set to cool. This is the user color temperature where you could change the RGB values. Here is the warm color temperature, normal color temperature, and the cool color temperature again. So you can go ahead and fine tune this to try to match it as close to your display as possible. And the brightness is currently set to 100%. My laptop has a 16-inch screen and the portable monitor is a 17.3-inch screen, and it's wonderful having all that additional screen real estate on the side there. You can quickly adjust the brightness and volume settings by using the menu rocker. So if I just rotate it upwards, I can go ahead and adjust the brightness, and then I can press the back button to get out of that. And if I rotate it down, I could go ahead and adjust the volume. So really handy to do on the fly. The screen performance is actually pretty good on this, considering that it's an IPS screen and it only maxes out at 300 nits. Watching movies, YouTubes, and other type of content on here is actually pretty enjoyable. So even though this isn't an OLED screen, the contrast ratio is actually pretty good on here, and in dark scenes, there wasn't too much of a grayed out or washed out look when I was looking at it directly on. Obviously, if I stood, a bit to the side or a bit further away, then I would notice it was a bit grayed out, but kind of dead on in a nicely controlled or nicely dark room, everything was great. So with a max brightness of 300 nits, you're gonna wanna make sure that you're not placing this right up next to a window, or there's gonna be a lot of kind of sunlight directly hitting it, because it may not be able to cope with that type of max brightness. You can leave the HDR setting to auto, or you can turn it off, or you could force it to be on. Now when I forced it to be on, I didn't really like the look. It really boosted the saturation across the board. So for the most part, I just left it on off, and I still enjoyed the viewing experience. Here's what it looks like dead on. And then if I go a little bit to the side, you can see it gets a little bit washed out and faded. And then when I go back dead on, pretty much perfect. Here's what the speakers sound like. So they're firing from the rear end. It's set to 100% volume. So they do get quite loud. You can make out what's going on, but they are of course lacking in bass, a little bit tinny sounding. So if you really care about music, you're gonna want to use earbuds, but yeah, these will do in a pinch. Gaming on the PS5 was a breeze, so I just connected the HDMI cable to the mini HDMI port on the monitor, and then I plugged in a USB Type-C port just to keep it all powered on. I turned on HDR to auto, and it made everything just pop and really saturated visuals. And then when I was in Warzone, I turned on the option to have it set to a 120 Hertz display, which is a limitation in Warzone, not the monitor, because I was able to get 144 Hertz when I connected it to my PC. You can also use one of the unused USB Type-C charging ports to charge your phone, since there are two. So if you're using USB Type-C to Type-C from your laptop, you have one additional port for charging. Let's go through the full menu settings. So to access the menu, I'm going to push in on the menu rocker. And from here, I can go into brightness. So I'll push in on the menu rocker again, and then I can adjust the brightness up or down as I see fit. If I didn't want to do it through the quick access way, I can also adjust the contrast, and I could change the eco mode to standard, game mode, movie mode, reading mode, FPS mode, RTS mode, and standard. And let's get out of that. And then I can also go into DCR, turn that on or off. Let's get out of that. And then HDR, that could be set to auto, on, and you can see that that just really boosts saturation. Not a fan of that. And then back to off, and let's get out of that. Now we can also change the image ratio. So right now it's set to wide, and you could set it to 4:3 if you need that, but I've just left it on wide. Let's get out of there. We can also go into the color temperature and cycle through, which I already showed. So cool, normal, warm, user. I'll put it back to cool. Now you can also go and activate this low blue filter right here. Let's take a look at the on-screen display, and these are the available languages. And you can also change the menu position. So I can actually move this up or down as I see fit. And then we can change the timeout for the menu and the transparency as well. So a lot of customization, and we can also turn off the LED effect, which I believe is the RGB going on at the back there. I'll just leave it on for now. And then let's get out of here. We can also reset all the settings, and we can also switch inputs from here, but you can also do that by just pressing the back button whenever you're not in the menu. We could turn OSD mute on or off, change the volume from here, and enable FreeSync as well. So while my experience has been fantastic so far, it's done everything I needed to do. There's a couple of areas that may be deal breakers, like I mentioned at the start. So one is that there's no touchscreen functionality if you need that. The other thing is that there's no built-in battery. So while technically, yes, this is a portable gaming monitor, you do have to provide power either through your laptop when it's connected, and if you were going to use HDMI, then you need a separate power source since there is no built-in battery. Another thing I noticed is that while this is rated for up to 165 Hertz, the highest I saw was 144 Hertz when I was playing connected to my laptop. And when I hooked it up to the PlayStation 5 playing Warzone, it capped out at 120 Hertz, but that's a Warzone limitation. If you need to daisy chain this display, I also tried to test that out, but it doesn't seem to have any MST support. So while this is called a portable gaming monitor, it can be so much more. So yes, I do have it connected to my PlayStation 5, but my main use case is going to be connected to my laptop or to my desktop to have kind of a secondary display. And this makes a great option if you're going to travel as well. You could just slide it in. It doesn't take up too much room, not very thick, and you can also connect it to your Samsung phone if you use Samsung DeX. So yeah, this is a fantastic monitor for pretty much any type of use case, as long as you don't need an onboard battery, touchscreen functionality, or MST support. So I have the 2.5K resolution that caps out at 165 Hertz, and this goes for around 270 US. And they also have another version, same size, but it's 1080p and it's capped to 60 Hertz for about $200. I'm going to leave some links down below if you want to pick one up for yourself or check it out. And don't forget to check out some of my other videos. I review a bunch of different type of products, so I'm sure there's something for you. If you have any questions or if there's something I didn't cover, just leave it in the comments down below. I'll do my best to answer back. And as always, if you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one soon.